By way of introduction, when I first saw the outline of this class offered from one of my essential oils resources, I thought, oh my gosh, this is right up my alley. I don't know if it's being perimenopausal, having aging parents. I went through a thing with my dad in May with his health. I don't know if it is launching another kid out of high school. But I think for some reason, I've been really conscious of my own nervous system and on a personal level. And so I thought it was really important, some of the things that they were highlighting to just bring before you all. And so, by way of introduction, I'm Angela, and I have been leading classes like this for, a really long time now, probably 15, 16 years, specifically how they have to do with health and wellness. And now I've been doing more in the last several years with my spirituality and leadership side of things as well. So I consider myself a spiritual care coach, and I walk alongside women who are going through similar things that I am. And some of you have some similar stories. I'm just privy to know most of them. And I always love when the group brings similar stories together to be able to learn from one another and really just share in our commonalities, right? There's so much that's pitting us against each other right now. So if we can look at the basic things that make us human and how we can connect around those things and being better versions of ourselves, I think that creates a more whole world. And the God I serve sees that as a blessing, right? That each one of us was brought here for a purpose and for such a time as this. So let's step into regulating the nervous system. I do have a presentation I'm going to follow along with just so I don't get off track. I do have I have a couple of videos, and I needed to set that up before I share. Hold on. Lucinda will remind me. There it is. Share sound. So when I'm ready, it will hopefully share sound as well. So let me make sure you can see this. Let me present this, and hopefully we'll be good to go. All right. And I have somebody else who's joining. Okay. So anyway, super glad regulating your nervous system because many of us want to be able to handle life with more ease. We may not feel in very much control of our emotions or our actions. We may feel overwhelmed by our emotions and actions. We may feel tired, stressed, anxious. I never ask you to share more than you want to share, but if you want to put something in the chat about kind of what brought you here tonight, so that you can kind of get commenting to each other. I can check in on those later for questions as you have them as well, because I want you to know most importantly that you're not alone and you're in the right place. This class is a safe space for learning, growing, and letting go of any ideas that you have to do it all perfectly. I don't know who told you that once in your life, but please know that this is a place for you to just be you and be authentically real and raw about how you're feeling and what this day is bringing. We really want to teach you some strategies to reduce stress, support your body, and feel more grounded in your everyday life. So, a little bit of understanding of why nervous system regulation matters. Our emotions are closely linked to our physical bodies. So if you've ever felt your stomach churn from anxiety or your heart beat faster with worry or fear, then you know that this is true. This is because of our central nervous system. Your nervous system is your body's command center, and it controls your stress response, your mood, digestion, immune health, and energy. And just by way of knowing me, I did not remember to put a disclaimer in here. This information is not to replace medical advice. I am just a layperson like you. It's no pun intended that my last name is Layman and all of that. But I really want to just provide information that I've brought to you today. I do have a couple of presentations within the presentation that I think you'll find really helpful from colleagues of mine as well. But I want to just remind you that you're your best advocate for yourself. So if some of this information makes sense to you, going back to your wellness providers is a really great next step for you. But just again, sometimes we can have signs of dysregulation, and some of you did the quiz that I put out in our heartbeat app as well as message to a few of you. But we can have a lot of signs of dysregulation before we even realize something's wrong per se, quote unquote, or we're off. Racing thoughts, tension, digestive issues, high mood swings, highs and lows, and even trouble sleeping can be a sign of dysregulation. So you're not broken, you're just in survival mode. We really want to learn ways to support our parasympathetic system. So when I was preparing this presentation, I found this graphic about the central nervous system to sort of break down these three main areas. In any given time, we will be in one of three places within our nervous system. The ventral, there at the bottom, is the right amount of energy that we're looking for. We can feel calm in this state. We're grounded. We're able to give and receive connection with others. Our sympathetic then is too much energy. So we're hyperactive, frustrated, angry, maybe yelling or anxious, maybe panicking or defensive. Whereas our dorsal then is our drained or zero energy. We may feel closed off, shut down, depressed, zoned out, numbed, hopeless, and sluggish. So if you look at this on the right-hand side in those tiny little writings, especially if you're on your phone, this might be too small to read. There are some of those ways that our body tells us through how our heart rate is, what's happening with our bodies, what increases and decreases in terms of digestion and heart rate and mobility and things like that. Definitely take a look at this when you get a chance. I'll post the recording on YouTube and then share it to you all as well, so that you can just start to notice maybe some of those symptoms or I don't necessarily want to call them symptoms, but just those responses that your body's having, to just take notice of them differently. I think when we're in touch with that, or out of touch, if we recognize that we're out of touch with our body, we'll end up finding that we actually need more intervention than maybe we first thought. Or maybe we've been sort of blowing it off and just calling it like stress, haha, but what else is going to change in my life? I don't know if anybody else has heard anyone say that, or you've said that yourself, like, oh, everything's fine except all the stress I'm under. Well, stress can take its toll. So how are we paying attention to what's being affected most? And I'm curious if this is an issue for you and you feel comfortable, you could totally share in the chat if it's one or the other for you right now, if you feel detached or disconnected from your current body responses. But our goal, of course, is to spend as much time in that calm ventral energy. But we also recognize that current or past trauma and pain can hijack that system and send us down the spiral. So we want to remember intentional habits, even supplements, and really, I call it soul care that transforms us from the inside out. These are some of the things that dysregulate our nervous system. I don't want to blame everything on cookies, but processed foods and blood sugar spikes can severely offset our nervous system or dysregulate it. Chronic, highly processed foods and sugary snacks cause quick blood sugar highs and then, of course, crashes. And then this creates a roller coaster of energy, mood swings, and stress signals that make it harder for your nervous system to feel balanced. Chronic stress, like I was saying earlier, as we kind of tend to laugh it off because we have a lot of responsibilities in midlife. Many of us are in the middle of our careers. We have more maybe responsibility at that career than we once had because of our expertise or our wisdom in that. Maybe we are in between aging parents and also raising up kids. And so we're getting kind of pressured on both sides in that generational sandwich generation or sandwich era. We can also have grandkids that add another layer of responsibility, never mind our own personal spousal relationships, partnerships, coworkers, women friendships, all of that, right? It's just kind of this hodgepodge of responsibility. And if we've been in sort of survival mode and been able to quote unquote handle it for a lot of years, it may just be that our body's done with that, right? So when we've stayed in that fight or flight state for too long, it keeps us from knowing how to relax. And so if you're feeling like you're always on alert, you're actually draining your energy, disrupting your sleep, and keeping your nervous system on edge. I also want to just take note of the dehydration and mineral loss because your nervous system really does need water and key minerals like magnesium, sodium, and potassium to function properly. When you're dehydrated or lacking those minerals, often from too much coffee, caffeine can be a huge component in this. Diet Coke in the afternoon, anyone? Stress or poor diet choices overall, your body can start to feel anxious, jittery, or foggy. And then lack of a real safety in your routine or in the environment that you're in. If your daily life feels unpredictable, overwhelming, or emotionally unsafe for a variety of reasons. Perhaps you're going through something acute right now, a situation that's an acute situation, meaning that it impacts you on a daily basis. Even in subtle ways that can keep you in a low grade state of stress. So I want to, obviously, I mentioned already the emotional trauma that can take over. Let me just switch back to this slide really quick. The emotional trauma that can take over. Let me just share this really quickly. In your handout, and I put a link to that in the chat. The first section is some journal prompts. Again, if you feel like you've been running on empty for a while now, these journal prompts, I have lots of these where this came from, but I just wanted to give you a few to get you focused in on this topic, to sort of reintroduce you to yourself and reintroduce you to maybe some of the physiological things that could be going on, so that you can really get present with the decisions that you're making. So your own nervous system and sort of count using that list that we just talked about to sort of decide where you are. And then how does this feel? What does it look like when you are in a safe ventral energy? There are just some reflection questions for you to use later. So I just wanted to point that out for those of you who didn't get this yet. It is posted in the Heartbeat app as well as a PDF that I linked in the chat, and it'll be in the replay notes as well. And I took this information, I sort of combined it from things I wanted to provide to you and things from the resource that I used from Life Steps app as well. So you can do that. Yeah, and a lot of people having, yes, recent reflections, reminders. Yes, exactly. Definitely kale, Mickey, for sure. And between the freeze and sympathetic zones, of course, like we find ourselves in that, like I just don't want to do anything into the I've got to overcommit, right? And we jump full bore into it. So how do we find that middle ground where we're just accepting of the rest and digest energy that we're searching for? And it may very well be that, especially that it may be that after all these years, you're finally getting in touch with some of the old trauma that you once had, and it's sort of resurfacing for a variety of reasons. Maybe it's mirroring something that's happening in your present. And so by working through some of the old stuff, you can really start to focus in on what it means to stay in the present moment and be focused on your healing now. Okay, let me go back to sharing. Are you all getting a lot out of this so far? Is this helpful? Am I speaking to the choir? I hope I'm preaching to the choir. This is for me and this is for y'all. Because I know we are all, I know Chanel's like, yes, we are all in it. We know this. And the more we're sympathetic to each other and understanding and we offer support to one another, I think that's a really key thing. All right, let me bring in some of this other information. So just a reminder, and I put these on the handout as well. There are some connections between what we eat and how calm and balanced we feel. Our blood sugar balance does equal nervous system safety. So if you haven't had that, if you don't have a blood sugar regulation technique at the moment, really take into stock the foods that you're eating. Make sure you're getting your blood work done on a regular basis so that you can make sure all of those numbers are within the range of normal. Because when your blood sugar is stable, your body feels safe. That means fewer mood swings, less anxiety, and more energy. So eating protein, healthy fats, and fiber for most people, because I understand some of you on the call have certain food allergies, as well as preferences, as well as ways that your body responds best to food intake. So eating on your schedule so that you avoid crashes, so that you're not triggering stress responses, is really, really key. And there are a few nutrients that are really important for nervous system support. First is magnesium. And these are listed on your handout as well. Helps calm the body, reduces tension, supports deep sleep. It is found in a Young Living product called Mineral Essence that has an acquired taste, but I'll give you some hints on that later. Leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, and dark chocolate. Magnesium. Also, for more magnesium, try Super Magnesium Supplement, also from Young Living. Omega-3s are also really important to have in your diet, so reducing inflammation and supporting brain and nerve health. So get them from chia seeds, which is in my little electrolyte drink here, walnuts, flax, and wild caught fish. And then the easy button on that is the green omega-3s for a supplement option. B vitamins are also super key, crucial for energy, mood, and nervous system repair, found in eggs, meat, lentils, and nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast, the way I take that is it's a powder that you can get in the kind of the baking area or like with the spices, but it's nutritional yeast and you just sprinkle it on your food. You can also try Super B for a B complex vitamin. And then trace minerals are tiny but mighty. They support hydration, nerve signaling, and hormone balance. Definitely look for unrefined salt where possible. Sea salt is a good option. The Redmond's brand is something, is one that my sister-in-law has recommended to me that I've been using. And then Ningxia Red is one of our staples here within the Young Living world. So I wanted to give you that friendly snack list that's inside your handout as well. So hard-boiled eggs and avocado, hummus and carrots, cottage cheese and cucumbers, et cetera, et cetera. These are all nervous system regulation friendly snack list. But really look for things that keep you feeling nourished, steady, and energized. And then, of course, staying hydrated for extra grounding. A morning habit may be a warm lemon water with your mineral essence. This is another recipe. You can take a picture of this from my sister-in-law, Andrea. She mixes 2 ounces of Ningxia Red with a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, half a cup of water and ice, and mixes it up to take a Super C chewable with it. Because Super C chewable from Young Living actually has a whole food vitamin C in it. Or you can do a half cup of non-concentrated OJ instead of that Super C if you don't have that. But that's a really refreshing mocktail, as well as a great way to just sort of kind of reduce stress to your adrenals. So definitely take a picture of that for yourselves because it's been something that's been really helpful to me. It's also. I'd also just like to note that this is really important, especially in the summer months. Even mild dehydration can make you feel more tense, irritable, or foggy. I'm always carrying around my water bottle, even here in the Midwest. We know drinking water is good for us, but we often miss the crucial thing that water should be giving us. So adding minerals to our water, maybe opting for coconut water is another option. You can Costco actually carries an organic coconut water. You can buy really big ones. And I just open one in the beginning of the week and then I use it every afternoon because I'm outside in the sun when I'm home in Arizona. And so that helps replenish my electrolytes as well. And then, of course, the adrenal cocktail or mocktail, like I showed you there. But really starting your day with warm water, or even just a lot, I do 8 to 10 ounces of water as I'm waking up, just to help settle my system overnight, because I haven't been drinking anything for 7 to 8 hours, right? If I'm lucky, if I've slept that long. All right, let's talk about some nervous system practices and get kind of granular on this. Let me make sure I've got my notes here. Okay. I want to introduce you to a couple of colleagues of mine. One that I'm going to lead the retreat with in October that I'm having. She is a breathwork specialist. And then the other one, I'll tell you about her in a second as well. But this is, we're just going to take a minute. I know we're probably going to just take a few minutes. I hope that you can spend a little extra time on this tonight. And if, like I said, if you need to leave after 30 minutes, it's totally respected. Please go as you need to, but I want to, hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Abigail Levisi is my co-facilitator, and she is a breathwork expert. She's somatic breathwork facilitator. And she and I have just gotten to know each other. And I said, can you help teach women virtually how to do breath work. And she said, "Oh gosh, I have a 5-day program. I can teach them, but they have to come to my website, which is Abigail Levisi, just like it's spelled here.com, and you can sign up for her free breathwork 5-day like deep dive into breathwork. I am going to show you one of the processes that she has, which is kind of a kind of the 4-7-8 or box breathing method to really help us get calm our nervous systems and activate the parasympathetic system. So let me go ahead and begin that next. Let's see. I'm going to need some feedback if you can hear it in a couple of seconds. It takes a little minute to get started. I just thought this was a great picture.
All right, we're gonna go into that breath hold, taking a nice deep breath in, hold at the top. Tune in to what you want to embody for your day. And whenever you're ready, you can let it go. We're gonna recommit to the breath, switching in and out through the nose, elongating our exhale. All right, we're gonna go into another breath hold, taking a nice deep breath in, letting this one all out to become empty. And whenever you're ready to take that breath in, I want you to breathe in that feeling of internal alignment, that you are exactly where you need to be.
I just love her. That is literally just a few minutes of Abigail's offering. She'll send 5 days worth of that breath work sort of practice to your inbox, if that's a voice or a music meditation that relates to you. There are obviously tons of apps and things that you can use for free. Insight Timer is one of them for breath work practice, YouTube videos. But there's something kind of cool about getting to know somebody that I know and respect and can really vouch for. So that's abigailluvisi.com for her information. The next woman I want to introduce you to is Carolyn Contreras. Carolyn's going to do a video for us next. She worked for the Peoria Unified School District in Arizona, overlapping with my mom. And my mom was actually someone who recommended that she become what's called an intervention specialist, which was an elementary school counselor. So when you hear me talk about stories where my mom was referred to as the feelings lady, Carolyn was one of those feelings ladies as well at her campuses. And she resigned a few years ago to work in the fitness industry, but now she's coming back and teaching families through her books. Sophia, Snappy, and Sage, and then Stanley, Snappy, and Sage are both characters that she has developed and written books to, and I think they're really appropriate for adults, let me just say. I ordered them both myself because they are simplified ideas for how we can stop in the middle of an overwhelming scenario, anchor our thoughts and emotions, investigate what's causing them, and then lead ourselves through a process that will help calm us. So I asked her to deliver, she does TikTok, and they're super entertaining TikToks and Facebook videos. So I said, would you create a video for our group tonight? So I think I'm going to introduce you to Carolyn, but I highly encourage you to follow her and learn from her and her books as well.
You know that moment where your heart's racing, your jaw's tight, and you're snapping at everyone, even if nothing's technically wrong? That's not you being dramatic. That's your nervous system stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. And guess what? You can't talk yourself out of it, but you can help your body find its way back to safety. Here's what I reach for when I need a reset. Tool number 1, ear massage. First thing, my ears. No joke. When I start rubbing behind my ear, my body starts to soften. And you might have to yawn, and that's okay too. There's a nerve that runs through here, the vagus nerve, and it's part of how your body shifts out of survival mode. Don't overthink it, just gentle circles, breathe. Sometimes that's all it takes to remind myself, I'm safe, I'm here. Tool number 2, it's tapping. You've probably seen people do this, lightly tapping on their forehead, cheeks, collarbones. This helps interrupt the flood of stress signals. You can say something simple like, this feels like a lot, but I'm okay. I can handle this. This is your body responding to rhythm and reassurance. And tool number 3, move. Shake out your arms, walk, dance, do whatever gets your energy flowing. Stress wants to trap you in stillness, but motion tells your brain, I'm not frozen, I'm safe. Even just standing up and rolling your shoulders help. And you don't have to wait until you lose it to use these. In fact, the more you do them, the more your body learns, I don't have to live in fight or flight forever.
Is that great? She's super great. And so simple, right? So simple. I'm of course going to talk a little bit about aromatherapy next, because this is another way you can shift your energy is by just diffusing an oil into your room, applying one topically, putting a couple on your hands and cupping your hands over your nose and mouth and breathing in. I'll show you an example in a second. But I want to point out to you this new Make a Shift Essential Solutions kit. Some of you already have this or may have the oils in the kit, but this is a really effective way to grab these oils at a very low discount. So they come Stress Away as well as lavender are both in this little kit, as well as purification, peppermint, thieves, and deep relief, which is great for tension, muscle tension. The point that I want to make is any of the products that like these that you can apply directly to your body or diffuse, and this comes with a diffuser as well. You can see some of the things there that with the intention, when you're using them with intention, they can help clear and shift your energy. So right now, I pulled out peppermint oil. It's fresh, it's energizing without the jitteriness. I always tell people who don't have our oils that using a citrus, like zest of a citrus fruit or an herb like basil or peppermint, something that's super fragrant, just ripping that open and massaging it between your hands can also create a smell. Your olfactory gland is directly connected to your limbic system. So just breathing an oil in, uncapping, say peppermint, is such a great way for you to just breathe that oil in and then reset sort of what's happening in your emotions without having to like think about it or do self-talk or anything like that. However, I do have handouts for a self-compassion break that I've loaded into the Heartbeat app as well. Recognizing this is kind of coupling the 60-second aroma reset that Dr. Benjamin Perkis, a clinical psychologist, wrote with the work of Dr. Kristen Neff, who wrote about self-compassion. And so in the 60 seconds, you're acknowledging, I am in a moment of suffering. I feel like I'm going to break down, or I have all these things to do today, and I just can't get myself out of bed. We're going to acknowledge that this is a moment of suffering. We're going to think about how we're feeling in that moment. We're going to think about where we feel that emotion in our body and what's the negative thought that we keep ruminating on, and just call it to front and mind in our conscious mind. And then we need to acknowledge that suffering is a part of our lives. Like everyone suffers, humanity suffers. This is part of life, and acknowledge that it's okay to feel this suffering instead of trying to wish it away or to overcome it with positive thinking. We want to acknowledge, like, yeah, it sucks. This is really hard. And so in that moment, we can breathe in to the truth that God made us beautiful and whole and perfect just the way we are. And so we're just recognizing that, like with other humans, we have an obstacle to get over. And then the third, and I mean not get over it, I just mean move through, right? Move to the next thing. And then the third step is then to, if the suffering is part of life, is to breathe the oil in to the suffering, to recognize that in the whole of everything that's going on, we are still beautiful, we are still whole, we are still part of a grand plan here in the world to contribute and have purpose and meaning and move through it. And then in step 3, we're asking for a moment of kindness to ourselves. So what do we need in this moment? Do we need to get a glass of water? Do we need to do one of the modalities that we just talked about, breath work? Or do we need a nap? Do we need to dance? Do we need to play music? Do we need to shift our energy? Do we need to step outside? Do we need to take in some vitamin D? Do we need a snack? Are we hungry? Are we tired? It's the same as what we ask toddlers, right? Like, why is it so hard? But we have to come back to that. And what are the kind steps that we can take? On your handout as well, I put in some of those extra practices that will help make you feel safe again. It could be quality sleep. Like, I'm not kidding. Take a 20-minute power nap if possible. Can you find a place to have healthy connection and or physical touch with someone or something that gives you great love? I bought this shirt at Goodwill mostly because of how it feels, right? I wanted like a soft, squishy denim. I have a big heavy blanket I use at home that sits on like a weighted blanket almost, that I can pull up over me when I'm feeling in that space. So what are things that you can physically kind of hold on to that are going to provide that sort of relief for you? Nature and sunlight is another cool way to, again, I know it's 115 degrees in the desert, but can you go outside for 2 minutes with your water and a fan and make it, right? Today, I took an hour after our work session and we went and picked cherries in Wisconsin, which was the first time I've ever done that. And I am still on cloud 9 because of that experience. So think about the things that you can do that can physically help move the needle. And obviously, these are some ideas on this screen about how to use oils in the morning, midday, evening, bonus, which is adding that deep relief for tension or relaxation at night. Also thinking about the three ways that you can build your regulation toolbox, because really that's what I've been giving you tonight as those resources that you can start to think about your own personalized toolkit. So then you kind of have a set apart nervous system toolkit, right? Like, these are the things that bring me joy, right? Or this is, I'm feeling stressed and overwhelmed. I'm going to keep my coconut water in the refrigerator. I'm going to keep my vitamin B, close at hand. I'm going to figure out fresh orange juice so I can make an adrenal mocktail. But think about 3 foods that ground you. Just keep it simple for yourself. I've given you a lot of options tonight, but maybe some resonated more deeply than others. So 3 foods that you were like, oh, it could be kale, or it could be avocado, or, oh, I forgot how great I feel when I eat cucumbers, right? 3 foods that ground you. 3 practices that help you feel safe, and then perhaps 3 products that we talked about tonight that may or may not be new to you from Young Living that would be of help to you as well. I wanted to give a more rounded approach to this, knowing that some of you aren't current customers, so don't feel any pressure in that. Just know that we have some support for those things as well. And then last but not least, and again, if somebody introduced you to Young Living, you just need to get their code so that they can help you get the products that you're looking for. But again, no pressure with that either. And this is what it would look like if you were going to get the Young Living shopping list. I put all of the things into what's called a wish list, and I can message this to you if that's easier. But I just wanted to throw it out there, especially those of you who are already on loyalty rewards. The wish list might help you add those products to July's order or even August's order, if you wanted to add something new. Mickey, I saw in the chat that you just tried Mineral Essence Super Mag maybe for the first time. And so getting used to a new product in your regimen as well. So these are loyalty rewards is the best way to order, because then you store up points over the months, and then you can redeem them for free products. Your body isn't the enemy. I just want to remind us as we close together a little bit. Your body isn't the enemy. It's truly your home. You're given one body, right? To live with your whole life. You're safe to slow down, to feel, to reconnect. There's no need to rush your healing. I know I was trying to deliver this information in a short amount of time tonight, but if you need to go back and listen and pause after Abigail's breath work, or if you want to hear Carolyn again, or if there was any tips that you wanted to hear again or wanted to see visually, I hope you'll reach out and ask me for that. You can move forward gently and with care for yourself. Super important to think about how you can do this in love and with yourself and with accountability. That was part of the reason I started the Heartbeat app community called our Soul Care Sanctuary, because I wanted it to be a safe place for women to just start to understand that there's more to life than the rat race or the sort of stress cycle that we've been on. I remember when my kids were in elementary school, I fell in love with the phrase, "Stop the glorification of being so busy." And so we would always compare, are you busier than me? Am I busier than you? Who's busy? You think you're busy, you should see my calendar. I'm busy, right? Like we have this terrible habit in society that we're trying to push our habit of or our obsession with success and busyness onto everybody else. And I think we get to a point in midlife that we're finally like, I give up. I can't. I don't choose that anymore. And thank God for awareness like that. And thank goodness for a community that's on this journey together and holding each other accountable. So I wanted to just bring to you a couple of the events that we have coming up in July and August. We are still finishing the Soul Care Book Club for the summer, which is focused on Mel Robbins' book, The Let Them Theory. We could not get it all done in 1 hour and 2 sessions. So we have a third session coming up on the 28th. I'll offer Aroma Freedom on the 31st. These are all virtual events. Aroma Freedom is a little bit like what we did tonight with the self-compassion break, but it's a more advanced opportunity for you to bring to mind a goal that you have or something that's just been sort of getting in your way that you can't push past. And then you use a very specific process to sort of unlock the old subconscious processing or programming that your brain is keeping you stuck with. And then that helps create some new ideas and new insights that will help you break through and break free. So you can reach out for information about that. And then the Spiritual Friendship Zoom is also open to everybody in the group. That'll be the first Monday in August, which is August 4th. And then August 8th, we're actually July 24th. Sorry, I didn't get all these calendars quite right, but July 24th will be their coffee and conversation for those of you who live in Arizona. We'll do that together again at Bully Brew. And then on August 8th, we're going to do a summer spa night. And don't worry, my online friends, we're going to offer that as well in August at a different time so that you can join virtually as well. And then I am sending out information for healing circles. Those are groups of 3 to 4 women that meet once a month or twice a month to bring forward their questions, not for answers from the people, but the answers from within and the answers that we receive from our divine guidance, as I understand God. We are always welcoming new people to that. So if you have questions about healing circles, don't hesitate to reach out. Some of you were in the first one I facilitated. I think I've been a part of 3 or 4 that were led by somebody else. And then I decided to be trained in the facilitation. So now I'm leading healing circles on Zoom starting the end of July, and those will run through September. So you're welcome to reach out about that. Most of Soul Care Sanctuary is free. There are some nominal charges for some of the things that I talked about tonight, but you can save by being part of the paid tier. So let me know if that sounds great to you, and I can get you connected with that as well. Last but not least, you'll be seeing more from me if you're in my newsletter loop and on my social media that the Self-Compassion Retreat Early Bird Special ends August 1. So we want to make sure as many people get to be part of this as possible. It will be October 23rd through 26th in Carlsbad, California. You got to hear from Abigail tonight, who is my co-facilitator. We're also bringing in a chef that we're working with for food preparation and display, and as well as just the mindfulness piece and component that comes with eating curated foods that are nourishing to our body, much like we talked about tonight. So we are completely immersing ourselves in sacred self-compassion for that weekend. So I hope you'll consider joining and being part of that as well. All right. I know it's been 45 minutes of a session. I haven't taught that long online for a while, but I hope this was really helpful to you. I'd love to hear after I stop the recording, if you have any feedback or questions. I always save those for after the recording because I want you to feel like you're not being spied on by the internet. So thanks for understanding that as well. And thanks for being part of tonight's